Hey guys, Ali Duzette here, and today is day 4 of our Mercury Retrograde series, and we are dealing more with conflict and clarity. So, this is the big question. What lessons are your conflicts teaching you? Whatever struggles and situations you're dealing with right now, what is the lesson behind them? One of the big themes of this 3-week period of Mercury retrograde is transitioning from conflict to clarity, or kind of not necessarily transitioning from conflict to clarity, but transitioning the conflict itself into clarity. With Mars and Mercury nearing each other, there are heightened changes for impulsive outbursts. Did I say that right? Heightened charges for impulsive outbursts. And there's chances that we're going to have difficult conversations that are held in ways that maybe we did not want them to go. Um, but a perspective shift can help with everything. So, yesterday I had us write down answers to these questions. I had us ask, what are 3 of the biggest conflicts that you face right now? What are the core values that these conflicts are forcing you to choose between? And what considerations have you been making because of these conflicts that you would never have considered otherwise? Like, what thoughts are you having that you would never even think without this specific conflict showing up in your life? Most conflicts force us to choose between things we value internally. Some big and frequent conflicts involve the balance between work and family, risk versus stability, loyalty to ourselves versus loyalty to our tribe. If we don't care about something, it's hard for it to become a meaningful part of the conflict. As I was working on this, I kind of thought of this situation that I had um, years ago where this person that was really quite a thorn in my side was kind of like, well, they're trying to manipulate me and they're like, if you don't do what I say, then I'm just not going to talk to you anymore. And I'm like, well, great. Like, thanks for resolving my conflict. Like, I don't care. I don't want you to talk to me. So this is great. If you don't value something, then its removal or its presence, like, it doesn't matter. What gives us what causes conflicts inside of our own soul is that we do care about a variety of things and we care about them to different extents. And these different things that we value are we're being forced to choose between them, and that is what causes the stress. Okay. So what are you invited to choose between? And there's really like an infinite amount of options, but these are just a couple examples that I thought of. Self versus tribe, work versus family, wanting to serve others selflessly versus needing some well-deserved recognition, taking care of your own stuff versus managing other people's stuff, taking care of your physical body versus taking care of your emotional health. These are just a few examples, but every single day we all have to make important choices involving our own personal rank of values. Like, how much do we value this or value that? Wherever those values fall on the scale for us, like, then our lives kind of reflect that. But a lot of times we don't understand how our lives are reflecting our values, and we haven't gotten very clear on what we really do value. And so sometimes we are just kind of acting a little bit randomly because we just have not gotten really clear on what we actually want. So we have to get clear on what we value and what priorities, like how we want to prioritize our values. Okay. The more we see what we value and how we value it in the context of other things and even other values, the easier it becomes to navigate difficult situations. So, so I had you write down that list of 3 conflicts, and I asked you to list the values in play with these conflicts. And I Googled up a list of values, like those literal words, and found a bunch of lists of values. And I just grabbed these because I wanted to give you an example. But you may value honesty, authenticity, compassion, service, responsibility, education, adventure, appreciation. I mean, autonomy. Um, I don't know. I mean, like there's a whole bunch of things that you might value, and sometimes they come into conflict, and that is when you have a conflict internally or externally, when you have to choose between. So, in the context of your current conflicts, once you've boiled it down to what are the real values in play here, then it's time to get clear on which values really are more important than others. So, what really is more important to you, being authentic to yourself or belonging in your tribe? And what is more important to you, making more money or spending more time with your family? And what is more important to you, contributing service regardless of what other people think of you, or is it more important to you that you are being adequately appreciated for what you put out there? And there is not necessarily a right or wrong thing. Right now, we have a big focus on being true to yourself, regardless of what other people think of you, but there is actually a lot to be said for belonging in your tribe. And it's not necessarily wrong to say, I think I'm going to forego certain decisions so that I can belong in my tribe better. I don't think that's a wrong thing to do. But we just have to be like honest with ourselves about what we're doing. I don't think it's wrong to want to make more money. Um, and I don't think it's wrong to want to spend more time with your family. And I think both sides of that seesaw can make a lot of sense. And depending on the situation of your life, um, it's like each one can be the right answer for your life. It just depends on the context of your life. As I was writing this, I remembered when I was in college, one of my professors, he was so bitter. He taught biology, but don't worry, we never talked about biology. All he did was complain about his divorce. And he talked constantly about how his wife was so bitter because he had chosen to spend so much time with his family that he hadn't made a lot of money, and he was like she she just hates that I didn't earn the money, and he just went off on that all the time. And you know what, it is good to spend time with your family, but it's also good for your family to be able to eat and like have food and maybe be able to go to the doctor sometimes or pay for a filling at the dentist. Like sometimes you do have to choose to make more money and spend less time with your family, and like that is justified and okay. And we just have to look at all of these things in their proper context and with wisdom. And that is really the crux of the issue, is becoming wise and understanding that every situation is going to call for a different valuation of our values. And we just have to be conscious of it and understand what we're doing and make sure it is what we want to do. So you are very qualified to do this for the conflicts in your life. You are qualified to sit down and really think about what are the values here, what values are going on. And I didn't think of this, but if you don't hate AI, you might want to put it into AI and say, okay, these are my problems that I'm having. What are the values? Like, what is it clear that I value from the nature of this conflict? And what is really going on with my values and the conflict between them? And just see what it says. What I, thought of in the first place was that you could consider coming to my Facebook group, Intuitive Healing with Ali Duzette. Everyone in that group is a fabulous person. And so I'm sure that we will all have really good thoughts for you if you want another perspective on your values. These are some tapping scripts for today. You can go ahead and tap on your forehead or collarbone and say it out loud with me. I am open to new perspectives on what is really important to me. I am finding it easier than ever to identify what really matters in my life. It is easy for me to organize what matters to me. I am easily able to see answers in my formerly confusing situations. It is easy for me to move forward with clarity in my life. Go ahead and breathe it in. Recommended sessions for today. I thought of the focus session because it helps you get focused. So that makes sense. The perspective reset will help us see things in a new light. And fear of living your dreams, I love that one because a lot of times we resist clarity because we're actually afraid of having a good life, which sounds like so silly, but we all are like that. And we all, I saw a tweet the other day, like yesterday, of this guy who um, he was afraid of talking to girls because he said, like, he thought he had a fear of rejection, but actually he had a fear of acceptance. And he was actually more willing to be rejected than he was of being accepted. And he had a big bunch of fears about having things work out for him. And I think that's a very normal thing for people to have. And so if you have a fear of actually having what you want, this is going to be a good session for you. So anyway, let's be open to some new perspectives on what really matters to us. Let's get clear on what we really value and start creating our priority list so that we can just be conscious about how we're handling the conflicts in our lives. Okay, thanks for being here, guys. I hope to see you on Facebook or at allieduzatclasses.com. Have a great day, and I'll see you tomorrow.